Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Houston. It's always great to come up after the preseason poll, so we want to congratulate those predicted at the top and congratulate those predicted at the bottom who now have bulletin board material for the upcoming year. So certainly look forward to another informative day here for our in-person media guests. Appreciate the early morning start for all of you, as well as those watching our event live on ESPN3. So welcome to our viewing audience as well. On behalf of our staff, we certainly look forward to assisting you prepare for this season. Kicks off 6 weeks from tonight, so we're really excited. It's fast approaching and should be another great year. Again, our staff is here in force. They're ready to assist you in any way, and certainly also want to thank our school SIDs who are all here in force as well to help facilitate all of your interview needs today. Certainly welcome our new coaches, 5 of them this year, to the group, to the festivities today, our accomplished student athletes that you'll hear from as well a little bit later. Also, we have a number of our athletic directors in attendance today, one of which is Dr. Brad Teague from the University of Central Arkansas. In addition to being AD, he will also chair the FCS football committee for the coming season. So he's the go-to person, expert, can speak on issues related to the championship, the playoff field, and of course the championship game that we host in Frisco. Also want to acknowledge Byron Boston, our coordinator of officials, is here as well. You'll hear a little bit from him today at the luncheon, but he's available for interviews as well. Can tell you all about the playing rules changes, anything else that you may be interested in. Appreciate all the media members again coming out so early this morning, and some we'll see later today. Appreciate your coverage throughout the year, and again, want to help you in that endeavor. This will be the 55th football season in Southland Conference history and our 56th overall academic and competitive year ahead. Appropriately proud of our gridiron history, continually excited about the future, and momentarily the coaches and student athletes will be giving you their impressions about what the season looks like from their standpoint. You will get your fill of Southland Conference football today. If you are a gridiron junkie, this is the place to be, and we're glad you're here. Football media days around the country, as we've seen, some have already started, some are upcoming as well, concurrently with ours as well. Usually time for commissioners to speak to the state of their conferences in their addresses. I can tell you certainly this past year has been laden with superlatives throughout, on the courts and the fields, in the classroom. Southland Conference student athletes continue to perform at a very high level. So I would tell you very simply, the state of the Southland Conference is good, or as we like to promote it, Southland Strong, or technically hashtag Southland Strong if you want to use that today as well. I have a brief time with you this morning and certainly available to you throughout the day. You want to hear from the coaches and players about football, but I did want to share with you some things we've touched on previously and we've come to a conclusion with, a major project that our school presidents, athletic directors, coaches, student athletes have been involved with, and that is a strategic plan for the future of the conference, authorized by our presidents and really put together by those athletic administrators and our very, very strong conference staff. They've spent about 2 years working on ideas and thoughts, really a roadmap for the future. We call this plan the Southland Standard. And it takes a real forward look at the league's collective expectations as we move forward in academics, competition, student-athlete well-being, diversity and inclusion, and financial support and responsibility. I believe that the slides may show you as well as we move through here. Administrators thoughtfully considered what their potential opportunities are in the future and have committed to a plan for success in all aspects of what we do. They've also planned to be very flexible and nimble and have a document that they think will change over time as they see fit. All conference business going forward, and really since this was approved back in February, no matter how big, how small, everything's going to have to fit within the strategic planning of the conference approved by the membership. The plan itself, as you might see other plans, starts with vision and mission statements, a vision statement that speaks to being a premier Division I conference by leveraging institutional collaborations to accomplish academic success and athletic excellence, followed by a mission statement that expands upon that in academic success, we want policies and procedures that encourage, support, and promote academic excellence, including, obviously, the graduation of our student athletes, and then from a competitive standpoint, to work toward winning conference championships in order to participate successfully at the next level, NCAA championships. We are working within a group of core values that include excellence, being student-athlete focused, integrity, diversity and inclusion, sportsmanship, and fiscal responsibility. And these were arrived at by, again, our presidents and athletic administrators. We also have 8 emphasis areas within the strategic plan that we are working on. Academics, obviously very important. We want to meet all of the NCAA standards. As you may be aware, there is new academic funding coming in 2019-20 that will be a result of how well each athletic program conducts itself in the classroom, and we expect to be a part of what will be a very significant financial distribution for the membership. Competition, obviously, what we're in the business of. We want this conference, and our membership wants this conference to be a league that can consistently rank among the top 20 of all the 32 conferences, something we think we're very capable of. Also, expectations of exemplary sportsmanship as we expect. In the area of membership, well, I have nothing to report to you currently about conference membership going forward. We want to be responsive to any national realignment that may occur, be proactive in that space, and how it affects our league and our members. In considering the possibility of new members, and again, I don't have anything to report to you today, we're only going to consider those high-quality institutions that enhance the league's overall value. And certainly, while we're going to look at, the academics and the competitive standing of schools, we also want to remain focused on retaining our current members, so that's very important to the group. A couple of other strategic areas, the student-athlete experience. You hear a lot about this in Division I athletics, and certainly we're no different in that we want to improve everywhere we can with regular season, championship experience in all of our sports. Certainly want to expose our student-athletes and the programs the best we can, marketing and promotions. We want to enhance life skills programming at each of our campuses and set a standard of excellence for health and safety. Marketing and branding, we want to continue to build our brand, local, regional, national platforms that we have available to us, and certainly do the same for our individual schools and their student athletes. In the areas of governance, operations, and positioning, we want to make sure that the conference is well informed, well positioned within Division I. Governance system, certainly want to be very active in that space. Diversity and inclusion, we want to be recognized as a leader within Division I, promoting a commitment to diversity and inclusion in hiring practices and all other operations, and also be a very active participant in the NCAA's diversity and inclusion initiatives. Financial support, very important, obviously. The conference and its members want to ensure that all athletic departments are funded appropriately to succeed in NCAA Division I, including a commitment to fully funding scholarships in all sports. Also want to work collaboratively with the membership to establish opportunities for increased revenue and reduction in institutional expenditures where possible. Just what's ahead with the plan for the coming year, just a few things in academics. The conference is working with its members to develop an annual academic meeting that will bring together academic personnel from campuses such as provosts, deans, certain directors, faculty, et cetera, as early as next summer, 2019. In the areas of competition, we've already made some moves here. You may have seen out of our spring meeting, we had a specific focus on basketball at that time. The athletic directors in our league are going to become much more involved in scheduling matters in men's and women's basketball. Also effective in 2019-20, not this coming season, the next season, we are going to put in a policy where we can have no non-conference opponents that are 300 or worse in the RPI. We're getting into some weeds here on that, but I think the membership thinks that playing better non-conference opponents helps the overall standing of the conference, and that's very important in that high-profile, in both of those high-profile sports. Also, as it relates to basketball, in 2019-20, we will go from an 18-game to a 20-game basketball schedule that will help our schools 2 more Division I games and 1 more home game in their schedules. So all that's being formulated as we speak. Certainly, we didn't forget about football when we talked about the strategic plan and what we might do in the coming year. We're still a ways out yet, but our athletic directors talked at great lengths about how we have gone from what was an 8-game schedule. We're now in a 9-game schedule, a modified 9-game schedule, and that has limited some of our non-conference opportunities against FCS competition, which the football committee takes under consideration greatly each November when they select the field. So, and we're scheduled out now through 20, but we will soon present the membership with 21 and 22 schedules that will have only 8 conference games. So we're going to see how that works for us in the future. We have been a conference that has proposed going to 12 games overall at this level. We lost that fight in the NCAA governance. That was voted down. So, but we will go to 8-game schedules in the future. So in the areas of diversity and inclusion, this is a very active conversation for our members. We're encouraging the development of methods to improve in the areas of ethnic and gender diversity with our senior leadership of our athletic programs. Certainly want to get our folks more involved, too, with the NCAA diversity issues, as I mentioned earlier. Finally, what's ahead in 2018-19 is issues related to student-athlete experience. Our conference student-athlete advisory committee will actually meet starting on Sunday, and they're going to begin to look into this area where we want to be better. And it's all encompassing: championships, life skills, time off, time management issues, mental wellness, athletic training and medical services, nutrition and career services. So that's a few of the bites that our membership's going to take as this plan moves forward in the future. I'd be remiss, even though the football experts are coming up to the podium, I do want to brag a little bit. We're very proud of the football legacy in this conference and expect that to continue. As I mentioned, this will be year 55 for Southland Conference football, and getting to 55, that probably wasn't an easy thing to do, but certainly proud of the superlatives: 5 national championships, 12 national championship games, 13 bowl games in our history, 23 wins against FBS competition since 2000, 63 all-time playoff wins in the FCS, 195 first-team All-Americans, 215 NFL draft choices, including 3 this past year. Back-to-back Walter Payton Award winners in this conference, only been done one other time. 3 of those since 2010, so we're certainly proud of having the best player in FCS. Produced a Campbell Trophy finalist, that's the academic Heisman, in 2017, and was also a National Scholar Athlete, Marlon Walls, at SFA, and we're really proud of his accomplishments in that regard. 5 semifinalist playoff teams in the last 7 years. First FCS conference to implement instant replay on a full-time basis. First FCS conference to develop a cooperative officiating program, a model that we started with the Big 12 in 2007, continues today, and is commonplace in the sport today, so we're very proud of that. For the 9th straight year, the Southland will host the FCS championship game in Frisco on January 5th, 2019. Very excited to do that again. We have another year left in our contract. We're hoping to extend that agreement and have been in conversations with the NCAA about that. A year from now, we're going to be talking about a new item, and that's the 150th anniversary of college football. We plan to be a very active part in that national celebration of our game. Also, too, the conference is very involved and very supportive of the National Football Foundation's promotional effort called Football Matters, and we expect to be again, more involved with that in the future as well. So excited about the competitive expectations. A lot of teams. Again, you saw the preseason poll. We've got some teams who probably think they are where they should be, and some others that, again, that'll put that on their bulletin boards and use that for motivation. So ultimately, as we've talked with our coaches year in, year out, we are expecting to put multiple teams into postseason. We are expecting to compete for an FCS national championship, and we see nothing that has changed there. So again, welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm not sure about how much time I have left, but happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Tom, I appreciate it. A great way to start our Southland Conference Media Days. We have time for a couple of questions. If you do, raise your hand, state your affiliation, and we'll be able to take 2 or 3 questions before we begin our process with Nichols in just a few minutes. Again, raise your hand if you have any questions. While we're waiting, Tom, I'll ask you one question. And you touched on it, the success the conference has had and continues to have on the national landscape. How proud are you as a commissioner of this conference to hear what you hear when you are across the country about all the great things that people have to say about the quality of competition in the Southland Conference?
Well, I think any credit in that regard goes back to our campuses. We continue to have, even though we've had a lot of changes in the AD room and in the president's room, we've got people committed to excellence. And certainly they also have some restrictions they have to deal with. It's well-versed what our financial restrictions might be and the level that we've chosen to play here in the FCS. But they're the ones to get credit for that. And I think you're right. We do get acknowledged. Things like the Media Day event. People want to know how we do this and what's next. How we do the basketball tournament out in Katy that's been a very strong success for a long time. Other things that we do to get noticed and all of that. So I appreciate you saying that, and it's just something that's kind of what keeps you coming back every day.
Absolutely. We have a question in the back. Again, state your name and affiliation.
Jordan Bazeron, local media. Tom, last season you guys had 3 football teams in the Southland in the postseason. What do you think will be the key to get that 4th team in, and do you think moving back to an 8-game conference schedule will help that cause?
Well, I appreciate that. I certainly believe we deserved a 4th team in last year. I'm still struggling with that. And again, maybe you can take that up with Brad Teague, the chair of the committee, when he's here later on today. But, we hope so. We actually went to the 9th game because we had seen indications that a 9th game in conference play would actually help build strength. We've seen a conference in the past with a 9-game schedule really get the benefit of that. And I think there was some thought at the time that we would get that as well. Not quite sure it turned out that way. We're not going to complain about getting 3 teams in the playoffs, and we've done that a few times here recently. But to be fair, are we getting, exactly what we need? And certainly we believe McNeese State belonged in that playoff. Consider all they did wrong was lose on the last play of the game at Nichols in the season opener, which was a playoff game, and they lost at Central Arkansas, which was a national seed. So I have a hard time finding what McNeese did wrong last year. They're a proud program, very accomplished and very deserving, and we felt that was a missed opportunity. We'll see if 8 games helps that in the future.
All right, we have another question here to my right. Again, name and affiliation.
Caleb Beams, KTRE-TV out of Nacogdoches. How big and important is it to keep the Battle of the Piney Woods going here in Houston with Sam Houston and SFA?
I think it's a huge deal, obviously, for both schools to play at NRG Stadium. It has become a tradition. Really, I still remember games when the games were in Nacogdoches and Huntsville. It's kind of hard to imagine that game being back on campus now. It's been such a success when you see growing attendance each year and you see the support of the Texans and Lone Star Sports Entertainment. We're all for it. We love to televise the game, obviously, and it's just I think it's one of the best rivalries, not only in our conference, but throughout Division I and FCS. So we hope that continues, and I think it's been a great experience for both schools.